Okay, we're in the Springboro Tree Farms apiary this morning. It is what, June
the 14th.
14th or so, whatever that is, and we're doing a honey extraction today. So to start that off, I thought I'd ask Rich, who's the brains around here, to walk us through kind of how the apiary is set up, how many hives he's running, and the timing of this. I mean, when do you draw honey? How often do you draw honey? And then a little bit later, we'll get into actually how you pull it out of the hives and then how you extract it from the frames. And so with that, Rich, talk us through what's going on here. You can have this if you want and walk around with it.
Yeah, thank you. So here at the apiary, and the apiary is laid out on about 2 acres here. You're looking at hives that are not too close together. We're trying to get more and more separated with about 3 hives on a stand, and we're moving away from a positioning where all the hives are together. That was convenient for us, but we were concerned about getting a lot of drifting bees going in the wrong hives. It doesn't happen very much, but they just seem to perform a little better if they're not quite so close together. So that's what we're doing, and it's honey harvest now. We like to think of our beekeeping year is beginning in September after we do the last of the honey harvest in August. We like to get the honey off in August because it gives us 45 days of pretty good weather in which to do the mite treatments. The mite strips need to come off 45 days after application and can't be on the hives when there's any honey for human consumption. At that point, when the boards come off, we're also feeding the bees with community feeders, and we also put hive top feeders on, and that will take us into the colder months of like November. And if we think they don't have adequate amounts of honey, we'll put on some candy board and maybe some pollen patties or some other nutrients for them to get them through the winter. Then in early spring, we put mite medications back on for 45 days. Take them off before there's any honey being made for human consumption, and then continue just with nectar flow in the year. And the honey starts to build up, and by mid-June now, we're ready to do some extraction. So that's what we're doing today. We've taken off only 6 frames as kind of an early harvest today. We took off 13 day before yesterday, so we're going to be processing about 19 boxes, not frames, 19 boxes of honey.
How many hives are you running now?
We got 33 now. We had 35. We did a couple of combinations. We started the year, I think, with 29 or 30. We did a couple of splits, and this year was a little odd. I wasn't able to get to the splits in time in May because of personal travel plans. And what happened was we had a lot of swarming activity. We had, at least that I know of, 10 or 12 colonies that swarmed. And that's not a good thing. We try to manage against that happening. But this year it happened, and so we're still in good shape. We've replaced some of the queens by using the OTS method, and we're really unharmed by the swarming because we're able to replenish the hives with new queens.
The swarming doesn't harm the bees, does it?
Not at all.
It just takes away from the apiary.
Sure. When a swarm happens, the queen will leave with maybe 40-50% of the bees in the colony. The remaining bees will make a new queen if all goes well for them, and the hive will just continue on. We're going to go broodless for about a month, and it'll have a new queen, and they'll be fine. But many times it doesn't happen very well. Sometimes when you get a swarm and you're in an apiary like this, the bees don't make a new queen, and so then your option is that you need to buy a queen for that colony, or you need to use the on-the-spot queen rearing process to make your own queen.
Cool. So when I look at these hives standing out here, they're 3-4 boxes tall. Most of them have like 2 of the smaller honey supers on top. How many bees are in each one of those stacks?
Probably this time of year, maybe 60,000 bees in a colony. So we've got 33 colonies. It's about 1,800,000 bees here.
Yeah.
So
they're very difficult to count, aren't they?
Yeah. If you think your chances of 1 in a million of getting stung Marvin, you probably missed them twice. Didn't
Yep,
you,
yep, yep. All right, Rich, talk us through what's going to happen here.
Well, we're getting ready to take off hunting, and the first thing we're going to do is inspect the frames to see how completely they are filled with nectar and then capped. So Sam's going to remove the inner cover and take a look here. We'll give just a little bit of smoke.
And what's the smoking do for
Smoke,
them?
people really don't know why, but it makes the bees less likely to sting. And we're all protected by our bee suits today. It kind of calms them down. We'll just take a few out of there and let's see what we have. Not much in that one, is there? Anything on the other side? Nope. So I'd say that one's got nothing in it to speak of, so let's move on down. There'll be enough there to take.
Not enough to take.
Nope. Let's look at the box below it. Bees tend to work up in the hive, and as they fill the honey supers, we add additional ones, and so that's one that we probably put on a month or so ago. So let's look at what's going on down low below. This one looks good. Ah, yeah. That's all capped honey.
Not much on the other side, but looks good.
Oh, yeah.
We'll just take this one.
I'll take that box.
Okay, so you've decided to take the whole box. Is that typically the way this works?
Yeah, we used to, when we had fewer colonies, we would make up boxes by taking the frames that were done out of some boxes and moving it into others. But we have enough here today that's ready to harvest that we don't need to do that. We can just hit the whole box. So we're going to put the fume board on.
Give it a
And we're going to check the bottom one a little bit later. So we'll take this one off first. Let's get a look at another one.
So the first thing Sam does is he pops off the cover.
Nothing there.
Gets us access to the top of the
That box comes off.
honey supers. And there's nothing going on honey-wise in that top one, but now we get into the second one, and we'll see what we can find. Now that's a nice looking,
That's a nicer one.
yeah. Not much on there, but
That's okay.
go another one or two in, I'll bet we find more. Oh yeah, yeah.
good.
Rich and Sam just wrapping up an assessment of that honey super. He's decided that they can take that and they will take that. But that's a pretty good image. I hope it's coming out here. Pretty good shot of what the bees are looking like when you're in the apiary doing this kind of work. There's roughly 50,000 bees per hive. So if you look across there, there's 50, there's 100, there's 150, there's 200. You start adding those up, and all of a sudden you're talking about quite a few bees. And when you pop the lid on one, a couple like we've done, you're going to have a couple 100,000 bees in the air around you. So it's an interesting process. Okay, Rich, what are you doing there with this with the board here and
Here's a box that we just put the fume board on a few minutes ago to evacuate all the bees, as many as will go. Now we're getting ready to take the box over and take all the hangers-on bees that wouldn't leave. We're going to take them over and blow them off with a leaf blower, and then we'll take this up to the sugar shack and extract the honey.
All right, and how's this? What is this chemical you're putting on?
This is called honey. It's called honey robber, and it's a chemical that just the bees don't like. You just put a few drops on like that. Colony you want to evacuate the bees from. And let it sit there for about 5 minutes, and the bees will down in the colony to avoid the odor.
And just makes it a lot easier to deal with, I guess, to work with.
Yeah, fewer bees. We'll have fewer bees up at the sugar shack where we do the extraction, and it'll just make the experience a whole lot more pleasant for everyone.
All right. So I'll stay away from the noise, but that's Sam over there with the leaf blower, and he's gently coaxing the bees out of the honey super that they've harvested. And again, as Rich just said, that's all about making the next steps of this process that we'll cover in a moment. It's all about making those next steps more comfortable to work around. We'll have a lot of bees up there the way it is, but it's always a good idea to leave as many bees down in the apiary as we can. They'll find us and they'll come up and join the party, but we'll let them come up on their own. We don't need to drive them up in a tractor. Okay, we've arrived at the sugar shack now. We'll actually go through the next steps of the honey extraction process. And just again, to keep the environment a little more comfortable to work in, we'll go through a process once again where we blow the bees off with a leaf blower, and then Richard's got a vacuum over there that he will then run on those harvested boxes as well, and just to pull off again as many bees as we can. The idea is to keep the bees out and not in. Okay, we are in the sugar shack now. We've wrapped up the process down in the apiary, actually extracting the frames. Have brought them all back up now to the sugar shack, and we're going to start the next step of this process, which is to coax the honey out of the frames. And you remember Richard called this capped honey. So from that point, Rich, tell us how this is going to work today, and just as a little bit of a tease to show you what kind of nerds we are, this is a very special day because we are going to use some brand new equipment and new to us as well. So you get to scramble up the learning curve with us today.
So yeah, here's a frame of capped honey, and it's going to go into our brand spanking new uncapping machine. This blade is heated by hot steam from a wallpaper remover.
And it's not ready yet.
And not quite ready. We're going to show you how it works in just a little bit, but we're going to basically slide it over. It's going to take off a layer of honey. We flip the frame over, slide it through again, and that should be a really fast operation. It'll be a learning curve for us today. We've never used this before, and there'll be some cleanup to do wherever this blade can't touch the frame because of the depth of the comb itself. So that's just part of it.
Okay.
So and we'll also be cleaning up with a couple of other little tools to help us just expose the honey so it can be removed in the extractor, which we also have a brand new extractor. And this is a 20 frame unit. This is our old one. It's 6 frames, and the new one is 20. And so it'll be a lot faster. So it just is electric, and you just slowly step it up in speed, and the centrifugal force will cause the honey to spin off the frames and stick and then drip down the side of the tank and out the back. And then once it comes out of the exit port here, we're going to bucket it over to a settling tank. And this is the settling tank that we'll use, the stainless steel tank. And we're just going to dump the honey into it, and what will happen is all the wax and little bee parts and other things, impurities that are in the honey, are going to float to the top. And then we'll take it out of here and filter it. And it'll be filtered into, and the bucket is a special device. We'll use this filter here. the filter into, and when the bucket gets to be half full or so, it doesn't have to be totally full. We just bring it over here and begin to package it. We bulk package in 5-gallon buckets, and this will open up, and you'll see later that'll pour into here. When the bucket gets full, we seal it.
Pretty simple.
We measure the moisture content and write the batch number and the moisture content on the lid so we know when we made it and what the moisture was when we made it. We're looking for about 18% water, no more. We're using a licensed uncapping machine, and it's really an interesting product. It's quite large. This is almost the commercial version of what they make, but it's got a very sharp blade. It's in a V shape, and it's heated by steam. So it gets really, really hot, and it of course stays dry. No moisture gets with the honey, so that's a good thing. It's an uncapping tank. A lot of the honey that we extract today will actually come out of this tank, out of the drippings that come out of the uncappings. And it's got a port on the other end for that drainage, and it works fairly well. Here's a typical frame of capped honey, and it just fits in this device. Just comes off. It holds the frame and slides the frame past the blade. So we'll just locate the frame here and run it through. And you can see it took all the cappings off. Here goes the other side. And this is ready, at this point, ready to go in the separator. Pretty fast.
All right, we've got
Look at this.
got this thing loaded up, I think. Richard, what's that hold? 20, is it?
20 frames. Yeah, it's
right.
probably something on the order of, I don't know, 4 gallons of honey in there. We'll see. I'm going to close it and start it. Now we always run it with the little port open on the outside, and we're just going to step it up a little bit. Smooth.
Nice and quiet, too. So after just a couple of minutes, there's actually honey dripping out of the extractor. Okay, so the cappings machine has been sitting all day collecting.
And so we have a little honey that's dripped out. So there you go.
And when you open that up, that's the honey that's draining out of all of the cappings that you've seen down here. That's an impressive amount of honey coming out of there. You know, you're going to have a couple 100,000 bees in the air around you. So it's an interesting process. But when you're suited up well, it doesn't bother you too much. So let's stop video.